Hey guys, Sunstreaker Wozza here. Welcome back to our next video in the series of bots rated for 2022. And next up, we have every bot on defense rated. So there's so many bots in the game, we couldn't do this in one video. So we're going to split it up into a few. And this time, we're going to do air class and gunners. But if you want to see the rest of our videos, then make sure you hit the subscribe button, guys, to never miss another one in the series. Catch part 2, maybe part 3. And to be able to go and check out all my future content as well. But as always, when we do these videos, I've got my good friend Tex joining us again. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be back here. It's quite a different concept, this one.
Yeah, so we're covering outpost spots, so we're rating them on defense only. So we've sort of touched a bit upon this when we sort of rated these bots, but now we're solely looking at these guys on defense in outpost spots. We're not considering them for attack. We're not considering whether part of combiner or anything else. Purely on defense, and we're probably struggling a bit when we were discussing this before the sort of video about how we sort of classify these guys. And we sort of had a chat before, and we sort of thought that obviously godly and good are quite easy. That's the easiest sort of work out. But in terms of bad and awful, where do we sort of work them out? So we sort of decided that bad can be, yeah, you can put them in, and they'll do an okay job in some way. But might be situational. Maybe not as much as you'd want them to do. Whereas awful is, I wouldn't dream of putting this guy in an outpost. So that's how we sort of classified it. So let's get straight into it. We'll start with the flyer class, and the first bot off the bat is skydive and skywalk. Where do we
Yeah,
go with them?
I think straight to the bad category, right? Let's
Straight to
test
bad.
out that new test out that new zone.
So yeah, it's
It's
high damage, but damage over time. So
and one target only. So it's even though it would hit it would target like a guided missile per se. It's just not enough damage. A heal is going to out heal
yeah.
any damage. You know whether even if you're interrupting with a hologram, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree. I think the damage over time is a big aspect of this, I think, as well. Like you said, healers easy going to heal that up. So next up, we've got Jetfire and Starscream. So another one-shot bot. So do they go into the bad category because of one-shot as well?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a common theme when it comes to jets. One shot, it's not doing as much damage as you kind of need. Um, their aspect is, being a gunner, you have a little bit higher DPS, so it's half decent post their ability, but it's very balanced very quickly with their lower health, so they're not good options on defense at all.
So we agree that pretty much all the one-shots go in. So Firefly and Blast Off again, do they go in?
Yeah, they would follow similar suit, and it doesn't even matter about star level, 4 or 5 star. Unfortunately, it's still the same vision.
Sky Striker.
Yeah, probably even worse.
So would you put him in awful then because it does less damage?
um, no, I think it's when when we see the bots that we put in the awful category, I think you'll see that they're still a step ahead of those ones. So just bad for me.
So other one-shot bots, Storm Clash
Mm.
in there as well. Cybertron Jetfire, straight into the bad category. Cybertron Starscream, same reason. A few of the other ones have got some differences, so we'll come to them later. So,
Yep.
Brainstorm and Guy So,
Now, I feel actually half decent. You could put that in the good. Um, the slowdown effect is can be quite useful, and it's different, right? It's a little bit AOE. Um, Players may actually not know what's going on because they don't see damage, and their bots are just moving slow. So when attackers get a bit careless and don't see like immediate, damage, their focus can go elsewhere. But you know, a 95% slowdown is they're pretty much not going to be moving at all, I'd imagine. So yeah, it's I don't see it too often,
yeah.
but I think it's more base, very base reliant on kill boxes and stuff like that. Like you're setting up a certain defense, and certain bots are made better for certain layouts. I just think I think we may see maybe Skyhawk in the HQ 18 days a bit more with the heavier weapons. Um, More extra buildings are being added. That was mentioned. So when there's more obstacles to take on, and if you are slowing down the attackers, it could be a good defensive tactic to keep in mind.
Maybe, maybe. If you catch them at the right, I said in the kill box in the right area, you can catch a whole squad. Then, yeah, definitely. So maybe more towards the front of your base rather than the back. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a good option. Next up we have strafe and thrust. So
Um, no, it's a bad category for me.
yeah,
It's a, even though it's a flying little Sentius kind of attack, it's not the same. It doesn't have the health to back up. It's a flyer at the end of the day. Yeah, and that's all you want. It's to have that good all around good outpost rating. You need a good health, decent SA, and some post effects potentially.
yeah. So next up we have tracks and cutthroat. So I wasn't sure these guys actually worked on defense or not. We
Oh,
tested it out,
yeah,
and
nope,
sadly not. So we've got to go in the awful category. We can't not. If they don't work, they can't be bad, can they? Really? So
no.
again, we wouldn't dream putting these guys on defense. So
But I tell you what, I don't know why they don't work. To be honest.
yeah, that's an interesting concept. Maybe they should. It'd be good if they could. Maybe any of the bots that don't work should in some way. But that's the way they've been programmed, sadly. So yeah. Next up, Viper. So Viper acid attack. What do we think?
Flyer, AOE, low health. I reckon awful, to be honest.
Yeah. Again, easily countered with a heal bomber, so just healers in general without a heal one probably. So quite
Yeah.
poor. Air raid and slipstream. So if this guy, if you can take a bot out with this guy, then I imagine amazing. But what are the chances
Mm.
really of taking a bot out?
Yeah, Buckley's. So
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
So awful. Think? Do you agree?
Yeah, awful. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Like I said, these bots because they're on attack, OP or amazingly good does not necessarily mean they're going to be good on defense. Sadly. Um. Power Guard and Cyclonus. I fought for these guys to be buffed a while back. Awful.
Yeah, keep dragging that green
Yeah,
section. Yeah.
absolutely awful. So, Flyer class is doing quite poor at the minute. A lot of bad and awful bots. Will we change it with Cosmos and Wine Wipe?
Nope.
What do we
With
think? I don't think
well,
we
I
can put
mean,
them in awful because they do a job, especially with Cup Lagooning.
no,
And,
correct.
I have considered
It's
putting them in outposts over the leaderboard weekend and things like that just to troll some people, but I don't think I'd do them in a top level war. I don't think.
no, definitely not. I mean, you got to think. It's funny that it's a 45-second hack. That's so long. That's like half of like my average battle time. Like crazy. But why don't we? Why don't we see it used at high levels? What do you reckon?
I don't know. Maybe because it's a 4-star and because on attack it's so poor, so no one has it leveled. Maybe. Who knows?
Hmm.
Next up we have Tigerhawk and Waspinator. So, we see a lot of swoop in outposts. So, do you think Tigerhawk could be good, maybe?
I think so. And the potential is there given that there's no SA11 yet. There's no,
Mm,
the attachments, as in like
no cores or anything? Yeah.
pause and not like that. And we have these discussions about, if Tiger Hawk was gotten before Swoop as a new player, Tiger Hawk actually better, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, I think long term potential and for good over especially the other ones. It's a hovering ability. It does a fair amount of damage. Yeah, I see good things.
Yeah. Next up, we have Blades and Dirge. I actually had Blades in my outpost until today, funny enough. So, Blades and Dirge, what do you think? Good, at least.
Yeah, no,
Godly.
it's definitely good. Not godly, just due to the I think the health factor still. Blades is still a bit paper thin, being a flyer, but it's the ability, right? It's the you catch a team off guard, like it's an AOE hack. You know, your team can kill itself. That's something you got to pay attention to real fast.
Yeah, definitely.
Ex-
Definitely.
especially if you're a team that carries healers. They can kill your own healers, and it doesn't. You can't heal your own healers that are hacked. So if you don't pay
Mm,
attention and they're gone, you know that'll derail a team real fast.
yeah, I agree. Next up, Silverbolt, Beast Wars, and Kikirikan.
Cicada.
I call him Kikirikan now. That's it. That's his name. That's what I'm going to call him. Just 'cause that's the first thing I ever called him. So even though I've sort of practiced this name, I'm still going to call him Kikirikan. What do you think of these guys, though? Are these bad as well because of the one shots, same as?
Yeah, I mean, look, it has it borderlines on potential good because of that healing. Like if you can heal your defenses, um, but it's a timing aspect which can be hard to pull off on a defense. You need XYZ to happen for his ability to amplify. So I don't really. It's hard to promote those bots that need a particular situation for them to
Yeah,
do well in. It's just they're bad.
yeah, I agree. Silverbolt and Thundercracker. So a long stun. So even though one shot do a lot of damage, the stun element changes a bit. Does that change them into good because of that?
Hmm.
They obviously got low
No,
health still.
yeah, it's only to one target. If from a power leveling aspect, it's good or even godly up there with mind wipe. But no, from a general standpoint, it's only doing one target, and the health aspect is low, so it doesn't pair up to be a good combination.
Okay, I don't know. Would I fear him in an outpost? Yeah, it'd worry me. But, easily count with a combine, I suppose. And yeah, if you put a hollow, it can I don't know.
I,
Yeah.
I don't think, like, even though the stun, even with say a EO core to get him up to near 10,000. I think it's like 9,000 something damage to a frontline tank. I mean that's still less than a third damage, right? Um, and even like the sack bots. I mean, if a sack bot hits it, you're not really the blurs or after breakers. It's not really going to affect them as much. So I'm kind of thinking at a standpoint, what tactics are kind of used right now, and would Silverbolt really deter many of those styles of attacks? And I don't think it would actually at all. It's not going to change how you play. Um, yeah, that's just from just from experience, I suppose. Just don't see it too often either at the higher levels.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. So, Swoop and Scourge. So, surely they've got to be a top level, these guys. They've got to be up here somewhere.
Yeah, I for sure. It's a minimum good, and I think that's more capped at. I mean, borderline godly, and I,
I'd say so. For,
yeah,
for me,
I
Godly is at our level, at the top level of the game. Do these guys worry us? Do we use them? Do we see Swoop and Scourge a lot? Hell
yeah,
yes. Do they worry you when they pop out? Hell yes. So for me, that's an easy Godly. Probably one of the easiest Godlies I think we'll do in this section. You know, yeah. You see these in every single base design pretty much.
for sure. And I think like the best time, or sorry, the best outpost spots are ones where their SA is not wasted, and
Yeah,
you
that
know
as
that,
well.
and you know that obviously Soup holds his attacks. If you're interrupting with a combiner, he'll hold it, he won't waste it, and then it goes on to the combiner. Or if you have a sack
Mm,
bot, um, he'll hold it, and if you start dropping your team a launch pad, he'll re-engage. Highest DPS in the game for a bot. Yeah, it's godly sounds pretty good to me. And with that stun on the SA11, yeah, it's just ticks all the right boxes you want from a defense aspect.
Yeah. And next up, we've got SG Jetfire and SG Thundercracker. So highest damage of all the jets.
Mm.
But does that make them into good? Just doing extra damage?
No, I don't think so. And the holograms that come from when he does his attack, they don't do nothing. So it's unfortunate. It's just a standard jet. Even as high powered as he is, he's still not going to one shot a bot per se at decent level.
Yeah, probably right. And now we go on to Gunners. That's an air class pretty much done. Well, it is done, not pretty much, it is done. So Gunners. So next we have Roadstorm and Spinister. So, these guys are likened to Sentius. Sentius, I think we see quite a bit in Outpost, especially at lower level wars, things like that. One of the better 4 stars in the game. So, do you think these guys are good?
I would put in good if the out like if it did as much damage as Sentius, but we know that the multiplier factor plays into this, and unless he's picking off and killing troops, that multiplier won't kick in. So unfortunately, because he's a gunner health, it's going to sit in that bad category. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think the multiplier because the multiplier can't kick in on defense, it's sort of a shame, really. And the fact again that he has such low health after that attack is done, I think that accounts for a lot as well. Um, Sea Spray and Octopunch. So these guys we classify as godly when we did the Gunners. Then we got the buff to the electric cores, which maybe brought them into good. Does that mean they're good on defense though?
No, it's you're trying to line up people, as in a row just to get your SA full damage. Yeah. It's no. The short story, no, it's not.
So we're gonna have to actually extend, I think, this bad
This bad
category.
guy.
We're filling this bad category, so I'm just gonna do some quick adjustments and get some of these guys down. But yeah, Sea Spray and Octopunch into the bad
Bad.
category. And next up, we've got Alpha, Bravo, and Longhorn. So we've already said that one shots automatically go into the bad category, pretty much. So do these guys join them in bad?
Yeah, I think there's a common theme here between the one shot jets and the one shot gunners that you know they're very similar in terms of their health and DPS, and we understand the sliding scale of if a bot has more DPS, it has less health, um, and vice versa. So yeah, they're not really offering too much difference besides one's in the air, one's on the ground. They're in terms of what they give you.
True, true, pretty much the same, yeah. Next, we have Smokescreen and Breakneck. So
Ooh.
I love this guy. Really worrying when this guy first started appearing in Outpost with Ability 11, with Glitch, picking off bots for fun. Like, again, this like Swoop, this guy worries me. When this guy pops, I have to prioritize him. I have to consider him. So, do we agree in Godly then? Straight
Oh,
up?
it's godly. It's such a
Yeah,
outpost boss that I highly worry about. And as thing is, I'm not chasing him as a. I'm holding my picks because obviously there's a couple of bots in that batch I don't want personally, but I would love him. I would love to have a 5-star smoke. Not for offense, honestly, just for defense because he's
mm,
devastating. It's a silent killer. It's not even about if he gets the first shot off on your team. Um, it's the constant pecking away from super far distance. Your bots are just not prioritizing smokescreen because of how far away he is, and he's just picking them off. I think many of us have experienced the silent killer, and
mm,
I save at least a few essays for Silverbolt to handle um, ops that I don't especially like, and Smokescreen is one. As soon as he pops, I'm like, I've already selected Silverbolt. Hopefully I've got an RC Hollow that takes the hit. Otherwise, I'll probably lose someone. But at least I've got Silverbolt ready so that the rest of my team's not going to fall.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Next, Mirage and Breakdown. So stun's obviously very prevalent in the current effects with likes of
Mm.
Chromia and things like that. So Mirage and Breakdown, almost 15-second stun.
Yeah, it's just the stun's not the same. It's not the same as a Chromia tower. It's an AoE pocket, So if it hits the team, the damage is not super high, um, and the stun is not that long of a duration to really cause for a concern. So unfortunately, another bad category bot.
Yeah, sadly, again, like I said, it's got to catch the right target in 15 seconds, not too long. The damage is not. It doesn't excel at anything. There's nothing it does
No.
very well. So a bit of stun, a bit of damage. If it catches the right bot, quite situational. So
What could change this bot in particular, and if we stuck to lore, if somehow the invisibility factor, I know he's got the G1 core that allows a bit of invisibility, but if like Computron, like we know that sometimes when he goes invisible, he doesn't take any damage at all while he's attacking you. If you applied the same concept to Mirage or Breakdown, you could move this bot up to the good category because as a gunner, you have decent DPS. Um, but yeah, we're talking a rework on it. But
yeah, yeah,
it's a possible concept that it's at least plausible.
yeah. And next up, we've got Cliff Jumper and Kickback. So glass gas effects. Surely that's good. Surely
I think it's probably the second lowest health bot in the game.
is
No.
health everything known in Outpost bot though?
Um, Look, not when it comes to smokescreen, because I know he is the lowest one, but it's so night and day if you were to compare the health of Cliff Jumper and Smoke as to the usefulness of their defensive capabilities. It's just uh, you're trying to for Cliff Jumper, you're throwing this glass pocket out. Yeah, it's all right, but we've got so much of that, through the MDS effects, through mines and whatnot. Um, it just does nothing after that, right? Like unless you've no, I can't. I got nothing. He's just crap. I'm sorry.
So is he going to awful? Would you say then?
Yeah, you know
Or
what?
just
I
bad?
think I think he's awful. Actually, really awful. I was trying to find some good points, but there's just none. The health is always a go-to for bad, but the effect is not good at all, and just due to the overall, yeah, the bot's makeup, it's just really awful.
I suppose if there's no defense in the vicinity, it does no damage at all.
Well,
So
that's that too, right? Obviously, if you're smart about your base design, you're obviously not going to put an outpost to um, like Cliffjumper looking to maximize his SA with no weapons around, right? Like, I mean, I've seen medics in outposts, but that's another story. But it's yeah, no, I get it though too. It's about placement of putting in the right spot to either amplify your bot SA, but that's skill based too, right? So
true. And next up we have Dust Up and Vortex. So I actually really detest this bot with a passion, just for how bad she is, and for the fact I had to chase her,
for Vicky,
for the fact to get Vicky, for the
mm,
fact I no longer use Vicky. So it was like a ongoing saga on my channel. So I would gladly put Dust Up in awful because the amount of damage she does is ridiculous. A G1
oh
core did not change that one bit.
no,
Awful, awful, awful.
yep.
I'd go as far as saying one of the worst bots in the game. I really would go that far. But
And it's like funny. I think everyone like got her G Metal G1.
yeah.
It's like what I mean. Like you're chasing certain G Metal G1 cores for bots, and they're like so hard to get, and you get the crap ones, right? So everyone's bound to get a dust up. I know I probably got two or something. You're like, really? That's just, that's like chasing nose cone, right? Just for
Yeah.
it's that concept that you hate that you've got to chase certain bots for a combiner piece, and that's the only thing that makes them useful. And
And then
that's really
leave them at level 1.
yeah, it's exactly, and that's dust up, right? It's just like essay of
Yeah,
throwing tennis balls down because the damage is nothing, right? Like it's useless.
I agree. Definitely agree. So Warpath, so very similar to Seaspray Not to Punch. So did they are they
Yeah.
sort of similar in the sense of it's got to line up right, it's very situational, and then some likely to hit anything, yeah?
Yeah, it's exactly like you know uh, we all love our high velocity cores on our cannons, and it's exactly what Warpath does, but it's a one shot only. If that was a
Yeah.
multiple out out output of ability, oh, he'd be good. I don't maybe even borderline godly, but because it's only a one shot kind of deal, it's a deal breaker. So yeah,
And we've got another one shot in Prowl, so straight into bad, same as Alpha Bravo, presume.
yeah, they're like brothers.
Yep. Then we got Jazz and Mixmaster, so huge AoE, pretty
Yeah,
good damage.
if we're talking HQ16, we saw Jazz everywhere. I think as people have learned how to path better, um, and not just have clumps of people everywhere, it's kind of gone away from Jazz being useful, even as a 5-star max. There's just not enough damage, and yeah, it's just a typical gunner stats. So nothing special, unfortunately.
So bad, would you say?
Yeah, bad.
And next up, we've got Sunstreaker and Swindle. So similar to Jazz, but it's damage over time, which is a big talking point at the minute in playtest, in how
Mm.
good damage over time is. It's very lacking in the current meta with all the repair cores. So is this guy bad as well? Does it go lower because of that? Because of damage over time?
I,
Because it's
I,
easily
I,
countered?
I, I'm putting it lower. I'm putting it in awful. The slow burn is just useless because this is one that you can just straight up out heal. Like that's not a good. It's not a good ability to if it can be out healed, with a medic. Like you want to outpost bot that at least will do some impactful damage or force you to drop a combiner. This one's not even in the ballpark of making you worry. Like you laugh as soon as he pops out. You're just like, huh, what's that?
And next up, we've got 6 gun and trigger happy. So these guys got heat seekers, so it's guaranteed to hit your bots. They are kind of a one shot, but they do probably the most damage out of all of them. So does that raise them into good, or do they stay in bad with the rest of the one shots?
For our level of play, it's the high end of bad. If if there is such a category, it's a purely stats thing. You're not one shot killing or stunning. You know, you're not worrying the attackers when sick gun pops out.
True, true. That's a good point. Next up, we have Hound and Dragstrip. Last two. So do we finish on a positive point, putting them up with good maybe? Because the amount of holes they throw out?
Hmm, unfortunately, not.
No. Sadly not. I don't even think a 5 star would push him into the good section, sadly. Guaranteed hits, but even with ability 11, even with that 4-time mixture core, his G1 core, it's not doing enough damage, basically, to your team.
Do you find that a lot of these SA11s are very helpful for bots on attack, but not many bots are made or SA11s are made with a defense mind?
I think it's something we need to consider more in playtest, and from the apes, without a doubt, as the sort of graph shows, that there's a lot of bad to awful outpost bots out there, and then you've got to think about the situational aspects of the abilities as well. That if it does only hit one bot, that's just one bot. If it's an AOE and it only hits one bot, it's wasted. So that is something to consider, maybe.
I
Yeah,
don't think it's a coincidence that the outpost bots that we run into are of a I don't know maybe ten bot pool, out of an overall near 100. So 10% of the entire characters are only defensively good or
Mm.
godly. That's pretty staggering.
It's an interesting stat, which we'll
Yeah.
again see as we go on. We're going obviously going to do the special class. We're obviously going to go and do warrior class and everything else, triple changes, and then see with them as well where they rate in the godly good and bad and awful section as well. And then we can have a bit of an overview on where we stand in terms of outpost bots in the game. But there we have it. That is every gunner class and every air class bot rated. So if you're looking for what bots to put in your outposts, there you go, guys. There's part one. So as always, if you disagree with us, put it in the comments. Let us know what you think. Do you rate one of these bots even higher? Do you use it a certain way that we don't know about? Granted, you can talk about power leveling and certain bots will progress higher if there's only one bot on the field. But we concentrate a lot on wars, and this is how we feel they rate. But yeah, don't forget to hit a like on the video, guys, if you like the video. And obviously, don't forget to click the subscribe button to catch part 2, part 3, and all the other videos of how we've rated every bot and any future videos that I do. But as always, huge thank you to Tex for helping me out with this. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you.
Yeah, always love doing these little cameos with you guys.
Yeah, and we'll obviously see you next time. See you guys next time. And as always, peace out, guys.